saying men should be dangerous. By dangerous, that implies I should be ready to threaten someone, to hurt somebody.
No, you should be capable of it. There's nothing to you otherwise.
Welcome to the Dangerous Man Podcast, where we talk about how to become a better man, take responsibility for our mission, create value for others, and the many failures and lessons we've learned along the way. Stay dangerous.
Welcome to the Dangerous Man Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Thooft, joined by co-host
John Kostohris.
And we also have with us here in studio, special guest,
Gjengdahl.
Oh yeah.
Live from the clubhouse, baby.
Oh yeah, from this studio in this here basement.
It's actually
Anyway.
sick, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. Dude, it's so good to be on the podcast with both you guys. Like having Peter, having you back is I'm so excited. I'm so
Stoked. Ready for it.
This is gonna be a more regular thing from here and there.
It's like when you're like
so
at the
pumped.
gym by yourself versus like working out with somebody. Very, very different. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But also
No, I'm
like
saying.
something that a realization, because I've been working out a lot. A realization I had today was like I looked at a guy in the gym. I'm like, hey, that guy's pretty big. Wait a minute. I'm like the same size as he is. What?
I'll work out. Were you
My
looking
man,
in the
dude.
mirror, Adam? I feel like you were looking in the mirror.
Bro, but mirrors are there for a good reason, but
Oh yeah.
they're also,
Yeah.
they definitely help our vanity a little bit from time to time.
I definitely had a couple of poses in the mirror and be like, oh, okay, that's what that looks like right now. Okay, yeah,
It's called checking out your pump.
yeah.
It's ideal. Good lighting in the gym. It's ideal.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really check my pump in the gym that much. I feel like I check it like at home in the bathroom, like after the gym. I don't know.
That's
No.
that's facts. That's,
Yeah.
Gym mirrors are better.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I like them.
I don't
And
like
the lighting.
I don't like flexing in front of everybody because then I
I
feel
don't
like
care.
I'm the guy who's flexing in front of everybody.
I'd do it. You want to know
I
why?
bet.
You are
Well,
that guy, pal.
yeah,
You are that
There's
guy.
actually some. There's some.
I have a
strategy
legit
behind
reason.
this.
I have a legitimate reason for flexing in the mirrors at the
Please
gym.
enlighten us.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, he used to talk about when you would work a particular muscle group, every time as soon as he finished a set, he would get up and he would begin flexing that muscle group in the mirror and looking at it and focusing on it and telling his brain, communicating to his body what he wanted it
Yeah.
to look like. And he legitimately talks about how he formed, like how he built his body to look how he wanted it to look. And the muscle mind connection. And when you're flexing that individual muscle group, you can build more strength quicker.
Oh, is that because like when you're
That's-
like flexing it in the mirror, you're also using your eyes to like actually see your body
To look at it.
so it creates more of that muscle
The
like
brain
mind
connection.
muscle mind
connection,
connection, yes.
because like our vision is like one of our strongest senses.
Mhm.
Wow.
Dude, that's bad. That's so dope.
Yeah,
Well, I
love
think
that.
I'm probably gonna start flexing in the gym now.
I've had to explain this to like 12 or 13 people in my gym
That's awesome.
because they were like,
Whatever, Pete.
what are you doing? And I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
I was
exactly.
like, oh, and also it continues to work the muscle. Like when you flex your muscles, you're working them.
Yeah.
And so when you continue to, it's fully exerting, but then you're still trying to recover. So you're breathing. Like when he was talking about it, when Arnold was talking about it, was for the fact that they would go do the Olympia shows. And he's like,
Mhm.
you're having to flex for such a long time. He goes, half the guys who don't do this can't keep flexing because they're out of shape. He said their heart rate can't, like their breathing can't keep up. And he said that was the biggest difference.
He actually has to practice that. So
Because you have to practice that
They
in
have
order to
to
do it.
practice
That-
all
that
of
is
their
a
like
set in the workout.
flexing
Yes.
stances, because when they actually do that on stage, they're like literally working out basically.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to concentrate on breathing while doing it. There's so much to it. It's wild. So
That's crazy.
that's why I flex in the mirror at the gym.
Wow. That was a thank you for that. That's
Do you feel like that Has anyone like been like inspired by that at all?
I don't think anyone's necessarily been inspired by it, but they stopped asking why I do it.
Okay. Because like I'm trying to think about if I saw like an absolutely massive dude flexing in the mirror in the gym, I'd be like, I'd probably be like, yo, how'd you get that big? Like,
well, that literally happens to Pete.
Yeah.
I've had
people come up to you and ask
recently.
that
I've been
exact
having
question.
people coming up and asking me like, "What are you doing? Like, what do you got going on?" Which is sweet. Like, obviously, I'm still working, but that's been
good affirmation.
super hype.
Doing a good thing, on the right track.
Now it's always dudes, but eventually it'll be the chicks too.
That's the goal, right?
I think. Well,
a goal,
I think it's like I would be
not the goal.
Right,
you know,
goal.
I mean, maybe it's just because I'm a dude, but like I would think women would ask other women what they're doing because like men's fitness is different than women's fitness, you know? Like
Right.
Like women aren't going to be like, "Oh, how are you benching 300?" Like like women don't really you know, do like upper body and chest as much.
Right, but when I can hip
like,
thrust 450 and they're trying to get there, they can come talk to me about it.
It'd just be like
that's why I say leg day, dude, is worth way more than its weight in gold. Because you do those kinds of exercises.
When you do the exercises, all the gym girls are like hot on, and they see that you can put up the weight. They're like, okay.
So basically, just glutes,
bro. Just build your legs, legs, and rear bigger than the ladies.
Don't forget the calves.
Yeah.
Bro, I do calves. I don't care what anyone says. I hit calves.
That's what Alex Ramosi
all the time,
dude. Well, the thing is,
always talks about that.
Alex also he specifically talks about hitting like calves because that was one of the hardest muscles for him to grow. I'm like starting to think about that in my workouts. And I'm like, I feel like my calves are pretty decent. I'll still hit them, but like I think what I actually need to focus and my arms are pretty good, but I feel like my chest could be bigger. You know, so I'm like. Should I just start hitting chest every day?
Yeah.
Well, I would advise you to start doing incline.
Yeah,
I don't like flat bench.
I've started adding incline.
Sort of a waste of your time. Like I'm not gonna say it's a waste, but if you're trying to build a chest, do flat bench like a quarter as much as you do incline.
Like three workouts do incline, and then one workout.
One of them you can do flat. And the reason I say that. Is because the upper chest is what gives you the big
size,
the big look,
makes you look
huge. and it's like it's about 3/4 of your chest is the upper, so hitting that is better.
Well, catch me doing incline bench.
My preference though is always dumbbell.
Yeah, dumbbell.
Flat bar is kind of just
range of motion.
Yeah, but dumbbell is just right. Barbell versus dumbbell. Like I use the dumbbells for it because then I'm also I'm getting all the other like muscles, the things that are for balance and positioning and whatever else. I get those all firing.
Or you could hit both.
Right. Do both.
See, this is why we talk about working out as men, because we learn more stuff by talking to each other.
Because we're all trying to be personally excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Because we know that it is the ultimate rebellion.
Yes. Yeah. Rub it in the face of everyone who sucks.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, actually,
I'm down.
Rubbing in the face, I feel like, isn't necessarily like the key word that you're saying there. It's more like trying to inspire them to also be excellent, right? Because like when you're around people that are a certain way, you're going to end up being more like them, right? So like I think
you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Yeah. Right? Isn't that the saying?
Yeah. But like but also the 5 people around you are also you're like one of those people in their life.
Yep.
So if you want to actually change, you're going to change them as well.
Correct. Like if you right now went and just started hanging out with 5 or 6 billionaires, your process of thinking is going to change. The way that you operate is going to change. You're gonna update. You're gonna upgrade to their software.
I mean, it's actually a very basic thing, like in psychology. like I remember when I worked at a bike shop. I mean, I might not say psychology. I might just say human like relationships and interaction. Yeah, that's more. But like I remember I worked at a bicycle shop when I was 15 years old, cleaning bikes, fixing bikes, and like I remember I was like, oh, I got a new bike. I got a cool new upgrade on my bike. I was saving up to buy a really nice road bike. Things I had never really considered before. And actually, once I left there, I never ended up buying this new bike I wanted. And I really never got into biking, but I did at the time really get into it because all my coworkers, like they'd go out every weekend and they'd go on trips as a family and they'd go on bike together. That's how they hung out. And it was like a culture of it. Yep. And so I like got really much brought into that culture of it. And it's, people very much start to get in on the things other people are doing. That's honestly how I feel like any type of trend on TikTok works that way. Yeah. Any type of like, I do what my friends do. You know what I mean? That's just how it ends up working 9 times out of 10, I feel like, in social circles. Somebody instigates and then it's, you know what I mean? There's a culture that's built. Yeah.
That's why it's like important to, get around people that are going this direction you want to go in and not like the opposite direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I think like Adam and I have talked about this early on in the show in the earlier episodes, but surround yourself with people, right? That, I mean, you just said it, surround yourself with people going in the same direction as you. Like let's crack that open a little bit. It's like, what kind of questions could you come up with in that vein? And it's like, well, what direction am I going in? Yeah. Well,
you got to have a direction.
Yeah. It's like, well, what kind of, people is dependent upon that.
Yeah, because
if you want to get really fit, you're going to start getting around people that work out and you're just going to start learning from them and you're going to start, making friends with those types of people. Business, it'd be the same type of a thing there, like what you're saying with the billionaires. I think whenever I hear a good story of people that are, I wouldn't say everyone that's successful, but probably everybody that's successful could relate to this, is like I had a friend that was like, moved out to California and found this like really wealthy guy and like he wanted to mentor me a little bit. And like people would, I was, this guy, somebody was telling a story. I swept floors at a recording studio, and I got around it and I found myself around talented musical engineers and ended up finding themselves being able to get into those shoes. It's like, being able to go and seek something out is important, but yeah, it starts by being able to surround yourself by people that are fitting the mold there.
Yeah. But you can like, if you surround yourself with like people, like if you're not actually knowing what direction you're going in, I feel like you can just kind of go in whatever direction the people that you're around are going in, for better or worse.
Yeah, right.
Like I remember, like I used to play a ton of video games, and the reason was because I had friends that played video games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we would talk about, even when we weren't playing the video games.
Right.
So obviously my mind would go more there. Like I remember like pushing carts in a parking lot at my job, and like for 3 hours I was just thinking about different strategies of like in a video game.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't even playing the game at that point.
I thought
like,
you were about to say thinking of different ways to push carts.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
I was like, bro, there's only like one way to push a cart or pull a cart.
Well, I mean, there's forwards, backwards, sideways, above your head, upside down.
There's a couple different ways where you
doesn't
can
mean they're
like, spin them
effective
around and stuff, but there's a couple of different tricks that you learn.
The front two wheels turn.
The spinorama, as Adam likes to call it, right?
But there's also like there's also different types of carts.
All right, I started a tangent here. My bad.
It's like pushing carts a bunch. I could actually go into there's actually like if you haven't pushed carts a lot, there are actually like different ways to push carts. But
yes,
I suppose you did do that as a job, so you are the current expert.
If you want to learn all,
I'm really good at pushing a grocery cart through the aisles.
Yeah,
and putting food into it.
No, see, the thing is
that's my specialty.
The place where I pushed carts at is Menards, which is a home improvement store for all those people who are not in the Midwest.
Right.
Menards is just in the Midwest. But they also have like these carts that are shaped completely differently. They're like flatbed, but then they also have we'll have rails on them that are designed to be able to put like a lot of lumber in. And those like you have to push completely differently. But the thing is, you can actually push one cart with the other one, but you have to like do reverse steering.
Whoa.
So it's like there are some different
And
strategies.
if you want to learn more of these advanced strategies, you can go subscribe to Adam's Patreon, where he goes specifically into cart pushing strategies.
I mean, just go get
Link
a
in
job
the
pushing carts
description.
at a home improvement store, and you'll figure it out soon enough. There's probably like there's also like a guy who's probably still there that was pushing carts forever. Anyway, you're going to learn stuff when you're around people, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But also when you're around, people that are just kind of focused on a thing, and you're not really like, I'm just kind of doing whatever. You're just going to go towards that thing.
Yeah.
So like Peter, I remember you were talking about like you did have an experience with people being like not necessarily like influencing you in the proper direction in the past.
Yeah. In my past, I have lived with people, as most people have lived with people, friends, family, whatever.
As one does.
As one does. And one of the things that I realized was that I started to take on their isms, their mannerisms, the things that they did, the way that they lived, whether they were messy or neat. And it's impacted me. And I realized this recently because I've been having a hard time keeping my room clean and doing the things that really should not be complicated. They're the things you do every single day. So why is it complex? Why is it suddenly become an issue? And I was like, oh, I haven't stayed true on my discipline because of who I was around, and I allowed that to influence me. Now, what I have recognized as well is that because I see that, I need to find the people who are driven already and try and get more with them. Hopefully have someone like that as a roommate, and that will help me. Now, obviously, there's personal excellence. Me saying that, I know that it's also my responsibility to do better. And so I need to step up in that area no matter what, so that I can begin to be the positive influence for the other people in my life. Obviously, I'm not married yet, so now is the perfect time to work on this, get good, so that I can bless my future wife by having these things figured out, by not being a slob, by brushing my dog every day instead of every 4 or 5 days. And a German Shepherd grows a new coat of hair every 12 hours. So it's my job to clean it up. That's not scientific fact. So don't take that as scientific fact, but that has been my experience.
It's your experience that at least your dog grows a new.
My German Shepherd has tumbleweeds that bounce off of him and roll around the house.
Tumbleweeds.
Yes, tumbleweeds, legit.
It's like just a Western at your house, man.
Fur tumbleweeds. And like when he runs down the hallway, you see them roll around. It's like, I just vacuumed yesterday. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, you're even telling me about your sister. I mean, because you're doing 75 hard right now, are you?
No.
Adam's
doing 75 hard.
Yes.
I did it this past summer.
I have so many friends
Peter
that
did do 75 hard, but
But you were talking about your sister that had done it in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my sister
And,
did it, and she was like 30-something days in, fell asleep while reading, doing the 10 pages of reading, and fell asleep, woke up the next day, was like, okay, I failed, hadn't finished the reading. Could have been like, oh, well, I fell asleep, could have had that mentality of like, okay, well, I tried, and I like, whatever. No, she straight up was like pissed off with herself and was like, okay, fine, I'm going to do this better, and I'm going to prioritize it better, and then went on and absolutely killed it. Knocked it out of the park. My brother has done it twice. I believe he's doing it a third time right now. So
third time? I thought he only did it
you
once
were saying,
before. I thought it was the second time.
You were saying with your sister too earlier when we were talking that, something that stuck out to me from what you were saying about, not being a slob and stuff. It's like, these are things that I should, like, they shouldn't be that, I don't know if she said it shouldn't be that challenging, but like I should be making time for these things already, like working out,
it shouldn't be
reading.
complicated to fit the things into your life. If you structure your life correctly, it shouldn't be complicated to fit it in. 2 workouts, 10 pages of reading, like 10 pages of reading. That's simple.
Yeah. Drinking enough
drinking
water.
a gallon of water. It's like, if you're doing 2 45-minute workouts in a day, that should be like the simplest task.
Yeah.
But you have to still take into account start in the morning. So if you're going to start your morning off with an outdoor run or whatever, like that's how I did it. I went for a run every morning. And so it was like, I would wake up, I would chug 16 to 32 ounces of water, get my body started, and then go for my run. And honestly, I was thirsty as heck by the time I got home. It was like, I just ran for 45 minutes.
Right.
Like, but I drank all that water beforehand. Well,
boom, 1 liter there.
Right. Your body, you just breathed almost 80 ounces of water out. Or your body processes 80 ounces of water a day, roughly. Just the average person. So it's like, when they're like, oh, drink 8 glasses of water, it's like, that's not even enough to actually hydrate the body for what it's processing normally. So it was, to me, it was like, this is so basic. That's easy. Taking a progress photo. Well, are you taking a shower that day at some point? All right. Perfect. Take your progress photo when you're taking your shower. Like, just make it fit. It's not that hard. You do your second workout. Okay, fine. You go to work, you come home, or you just go straight to the gym afterward, because a lot of people, if they go home after work, they're not leaving. They're like, no, I'm done. It's over now. So just cut that excuse out. Go to the gym right away after work. Pack your bag that morning. Pack your bag the night before, so it's already ready in the morning. You don't have to think about it.
So
just build the things into your life as processes.
What you're saying, Peter, it kind of sounds like you need to make a plan in order to actually succeed.
Yep.
In it. That's like the key.
And not even make a plan, but just say, where does, like, look at your life, look at the schedule of your life and say, where does this fit? It can, no 2 people are the same. So like what I do isn't going to work for other people. Like it won't work for other people. It might work for some people, but everyone would take what I'm trying to do and how my life looks, and they would structure it differently, because they have different goals. They have different like things. They have a different why of why they're doing what they're doing. So for like what I do is going to look drastically different than what John does or what Adam does. So that's kind of how I feel about it, how I look at it.
Yeah. So how does that relate to like what you were saying with your, like just some of the things of cleaning and cleanliness and whatnot that you wanted to be able to get right?
Yeah, I just
like you were going in a direction with that.
I have to look at my day and say, realistically, where does this fit? Where does brushing my dog every day fit? I wouldn't need to spend 30 minutes brushing him if I spent probably 5 minutes every day brushing him. Because that time is, it sort of compounds there. So if I just did a bit every day, wouldn't be that big of a deal. Or vacuuming. If I vacuum a different area of the house every day and just set up different parts so I can spend 5 minutes each day and vacuum a different portion of the house, then the entire house gets vacuumed at least once a week.
Do you feel like that's why a lot of people get overwhelmed with trying to do tasks because they've like let it go on too far?
Yep. You let it go too far, and then you're so far behind that when you start to think about it and go, okay, I really need to do this task, you're so overwhelmed. I've done this so many times in my life. I could legitimately spend 8 hours cleaning, and let's say at least half of that is me stressing about the fact that I have to spend 8 hours cleaning. It's terrible.
So really, you only need 4 hours.
I need 20 minutes every day
Okay.
spent doing the tasks,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would never have to stress out about it.
Yeah. That's so. Going back to personal excellence.
Yep.
Like from themes that I've gotten from, like listening to stuff, reading books, is like, you have to start today, not tomorrow. Today.
Correct.
And I think a lot of people, when they approach that, at least like how I approached it for so long was like, oh, I need to go absolutely crazy on this today so that I can get into it and be great and stuff. Whereas like, no, you just need to do like something like small, like if it's like, oh, I should start cleaning my room today, but it's late at night already and it's a mess. It's like, no, you don't necessarily need to clean your entire room today because you feel like that's super overwhelming. Maybe just clean a little bit of it every day, and eventually it'll be clean. And if you keep that habit going, it'll eventually stay clean.
I found in life that, in my experiences, that I tend to be a very organized and orderly person. And one of the things that's helped me be successful in that and make that like a part of who I am has been that maintenance, the upkeep. You know, if you sweep the floor in the kitchen every day, then, you know, how much dust, how many food particles do you collect? Maybe a little bit, but like, could you really notice it? You'd be like, oh, there's a little bit, but wait like a month or two. And then it's like, you have 3 freaking piles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, when I sweep it every day, it takes me about 2.5 minutes. When I sweep it only once every 3 months, it takes me like 30 minutes to do it well. You know what I mean? So it's just like, wait a minute, this isn't overwhelming when I just do it every day, because it takes so much less time. Like, it's quick. Like the same thing, like you have a dish, right? And you eat your food and you leave it, it gets all crusty. And then, oh, I hate washing dishes. And again, this gets back to like what we were saying with like the way the mind works and self-talk, right? We have this belief. You can go listen to the last episode if you want to hear about that. We have this belief that's like, oh, I hate washing dishes, or I'm not good at it, or I don't like it, or I'm not a clean person. It's like, yeah, well, because you know how like freaking long it takes to scrub that bitch. Like that plate is like caked on, bro. Like that's, and it's like, dude, when you finish eating that and you just rinse it with hot water, it literally washes off with ease. And then you get a little soap and you go, and it's clean. It takes me like, it takes me like 10, 20 seconds to wash my dishes after I eat food. But if I let it sit there, it takes like 4 times as long. Like literally it's,
right.
And I think that's just a really cool image for the ways I've found to be successful with my systems. With the way, you know, you're saying like, if I just brush my dog every day, you know what I mean? Like if you do it a little bit every day, it's just not that hard. And it's so much more satisfying to have that peace of mind.
I think what we're talking about here is like creating systems of excellence, where it's like, it's not like, oh, I'm an excellent person, now I do everything perfectly. It's like, no, let me create a system in which this becomes more excellent, because, okay, I have things clean. Therefore, like when I come into my house or into my room, I don't get like anxiety or stress.
Yeah.
I just feel more peaceful and I can stay focused on the things that matter.
Yeah. I've really noticed when it comes to cleaning or comes to doing those things, like Adam, you were saying like, oh, it starts today. Like someone like me, when I look at my room and I'm like, okay, I really need to clean my room. I need to vacuum it. I need to, get the dog hair. I need to get this. I need to do that. I got clothes over here. I got, whatever it might be, mail on my centerpiece. I like to say the first task that I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up all the trash. So any trash and the dog hair is what I'm going to focus on.
Yeah.
Perfect. I did that one task. If it's too late now, I'm going to bed. And then the next day...
But tomorrow you don't have to do the trash.
Right,
and the
tomorrow
hair.
I don't have to do the trash and the hair.
You can let it go a few days,
Tomorrow I can do the laundry. I'll get all the laundry cleaned up. I'll run it. I'll focus on that for the day. Take care of it.
That's really good.
The day after that, it's clean the stuff off of the center table and maybe vacuum again, whatever it might be. Rewash your bedding, like do that probably weekly. If you're,
I should be taking notes right now so I can text this to Peter later, so he has his list.
Something that I actually realized with cleaning your room is like,
good,
you know how you have like sweatshirts and stuff that you've like worn once, but like
right, it's not dirty enough. You're
not gonna wash a sweatshirt every single time you wear it. You're just gonna wear it out, right? And it's not that dirty because it's like it's not your base layer. Like your base layer, like your underwear, your shirts, like wash those every time you wear them. But like your pants, your like sweatshirts, like those can go a couple of times
until they start to stink a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much. But like
or they got spaghetti stain.
The thing with that, it's if you're in a rush, it's easy to like take that off and just like, well, I'm not throwing this into my dirty clothes basket because like I'm still going to rewear it, so I don't want to mix it with everything that is really dirty, like all my dirty underwear and all that stuff. So like, I just gotta throw it somewhere, and then it just ends up being like the floor, the bed, or a chair.
Normally, it's a chair, and you start hanging it over the back because it's not bad enough to clean yet, but it's not clean enough to get put back with the clean laundry. So it's like I need a place in between.
Dude, but I feel like this is becoming a really good stand-up comedy bit where like the women are like, how does he do that? And then she's like collecting laundry to wash. She's like, oh, honey, that's not dirty. But she's like, but it's on the floor. We're like, yeah, but
that's my spot.
I've only worn it once.
Where like the wear again pile is.
Yeah.
But the thing is like,
it's just like, yeah.
The thing is though, is if you have a wear again pile, it's still kind of a mess. So like, something that I was thinking about is like, how do I actually have, like, put my wear again stuff somewhere where it's organized? And so my room is still clean even when I have those things.
Get like a
sounds like you need a hanger system of excellence.
Get like a hanger or like a group of like hooks on the wall.
Yeah.
Kind of like a coat rack, but like small. And that's where you can rehang them.
Yeah. Like I just got to figure out like a system to do that. Cause like, I feel like that would.
I have a drawer that I use just for that.
That would solve probably like 40% of my mess in my room.
Yeah.
I think I have a spare one at home that I could give you.
You got to get a system, right? Isn't that what we're talking about? Like, like if you, and this is how it works. I mean, I've learned a lot about life through doing business. But one of the things is like, if you have a problem you need to solve, like you solve it and it makes your business. And that's like the essence of a business is solving someone's problems. And then they give you money to solve the problem.
Right.
And so much of that is set up by creating a system. And there's creativity in that. And so, it's really good for the human mind.
And the better the system, the faster you can solve the problem.
More efficiently.
The more efficiently you can solve the problem, and the faster together is the more people you can serve.
Yeah.
And the more money you make.
And you want to start getting good at that. Well, why don't you start solving the problems in your life?
Yeah.
Developing systems in your life to, you know what I mean? Like, what are your pain points? You don't have to pay for someone to solve. You can just actually like learn how to overcome these problems. For me, the clothes all over the room was like, well, I actually have a drawer that I use for wear again clothes, and I fold them differently to signify to me that I can wear this a second time or a third time. And I don't want it with the clean clothes because it's not clean, but I have it in its own spot. Anyways, that's like my system. Yeah. And laundry baskets just for dirty laundry.
When you said you fold it differently, I got like serial killer vibes.
Dude,
just one little flap, slightly different.
Oh my gosh! Just like
3/4 of an inch.
Oh my gosh! This guy thinks I'm like doing these fluffy napkin designs on the table, but like all over my room. And he's like, dude,
like something special, or towel art,
or toilet paper art.
Dude, I don't know how they do it, but I would pay someone to do that in my house.
It's so good.
Get a maid that knows how to do that. That'd be that's kind of the dream there.
It's called a wife.
Whoa.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Hot take.
Wow. Granted, like having a wife that could do those things would be appreciated, but also having a maid, so then your wife doesn't have to do that.
Because then that means you're making enough money that you can have a maid service.
Exactly. For all the wives listening back home, it's not what that's just a joke.
We appreciate though if you can. Towels.
But I do want to put a picture of a woman making a sandwich in my kitchen. So there you go.
Yeah.
Man.
By the way, like the thing,
I just find that shit so funny, dude.
Is like,
I actually think that it's just
like
so fun.
A stereotype to make like fun of women, like go make me a sandwich type of thing.
Exactly
but it's because like as men we find that attractive. Like if women made sandwiches for us, we'd be like, she loves me. Wow.
Dude, food is like my love language. And probably Peter's. Definitely Peter's.
Is that a fat joke? John's like, no, it's not a fat joke. It's just you make the best fucking food.
This is true, man. I go to Peter's house and I pull cash out of my wallet and I give it to him. And I feel like I'm going to a restaurant paying for food. But it's like, well, why would I go to the restaurant when I can go to Peter's house? Like, dude, so anyways.
I do appreciate
this is
that.
Quality, man. This is art that I respect. So
I love food.
Oh, man, it's so
Food
good.
is the way to my heart.
Wow. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. I feel like I could talk about all my dreams with food, but I'm not gonna.
I heard a comedian talking about the way to a woman's heart, and there was like 45 things that he named off, and then he goes, the way to a man's heart's pretty simple. He goes, show up naked and bring food.
That's amazing.
And every dude in the audience was like, yeah, that's it. And I was just like, oh, got him summed up. I'm not condoning this. I'm just saying it's sort of true. Comedy is truth, just spoken in a different way.
Yeah, we make jokes about making sandwiches because that's what we appreciate.
Like if someone brought me a sandwich right now, I would love them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Like
I could use a sandwich right now.
This is making me hungry.
Dude.
All right, so we're done talking about food, and we're gonna talk about
probably
having good people in your life.
What are
that can possibly make you sandwiches? But anyway,
so
that's besides the point.
Bros,
kind of
bros.
Part one of this, if part one of this is kind of having some systems of excellence and whatnot, right? I think that's good. Do it. Be creative. We believe in you. You will have a wife one day that will look at you and be like, "Oh my gosh." And then they might actually show up naked with food because you know what I mean? Because you're sexy when you clean the toilet or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe not the toilet, but
I don't know, man. Just don't be a slob and like wow them a little bit with your, you know what I mean? Like, like, wow, did his mom do everything and he never learned anything? Like, don't be that guy.
Nobody likes that guy. And if you shit like a banshee in the toilet, just grab the brush and clean it out.
Yeah, I think there's like an aspect to. So yeah, I mean, great takeaway for those taking notes at home. But I think, connected to that is something we were, just kind of chatting off the cuff on, which is like, okay, well, what goes into influencing some of those habits? Some of those, I don't even want to say it's habits, but it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about what's happening right now is like, I'm like talking about like, hey, this is the system that I need to figure out how to fix this in. And then like Peter's like, hey, you should get like a rack and put hooks on it and that kind of stuff. Like that's why like the
drawer for me.
Yeah, the drawer for from you, John. That's why we like get together as men and actually like talk about like, oh, so what are you working on? What okay, so then I get more ideas from you guys and be like, oh, this is how I can change, this is how I become better. And also realizing like, oh, sometimes it's like something really simple that you're just missing, and then some other guy says what they're doing and you're like, well, no shit, why didn't I think about that? And I think that's just very important to get like encouragement from other men in that way of like, oh, that's actually how I solve this problem. And being able to even like go around men, solve more problems in our lives. And then because we can kind of like have that cross connections of, okay, me being around Peter, he talks to me about like the stuff that he's doing, and I'm like, okay, well then I can actually implement that in my life in this way. Like I can clean my room better by like, putting stuff on hooks and that kind of thing. And then I can like adjust that, but then also I can talk to, Peter about like, people that I'm around or books I'm reading, and be like, oh, okay, that, like, maybe I should read that, and then so we influence each other, and just like we were talking about earlier with having the people that you're around actually like influence you. That's how it happens. Like, cause you get around guys that have solved a problem or part of a problem that you're currently dealing with, and then that allows you to like fix that problem. And sometimes it's just like where your mental state is at too, because sometimes like I know sometimes like one of the reasons why I'm reading the book What to Say When You Talk to Yourself is because I'll beat the shit out of myself mentally sometimes. And like I know like I need to, you know, stop like telling myself I'm a piece of shit when I'm just like slept in a little bit. Like
Right.
It's gonna be like, oh no, actually I can get up earlier. I am capable of being excellent in this area. Let's start doing that. Not well,
yeah,
I guess I'm terrible.
And I think we've driven home pretty hard on a lot of episodes talking about environment, talking about how people, how things influence you. You know, we've talked a lot about that. I'm not going to get into that now, but I think with that in mind as kind of a baseline, it's like, well, just the importance of having good people, and in our case, good men, good brothers, that are going to actually be an asset in the long term, in the fundamental direction of our life. And if you look at in investing, a couple of the phrase, I actually just was talking to a guy and he was telling me about this. He is one of the guys I work with, and he was like, dude, I was talking about music and all of some of my dreams, and he was just like encouraging me. He's like, bro, like in investing, like there's the fundamental investment that's like the long play. And then if you take guys like Grant Cardone, they'll be like actually Alex Hormozi talks about this. He says, take a lot of money and make very little low risk moves with investment. But he says, take a little bit of money and a lot of risk and go for big swings that way. And it was just kind of a cool image of, you know, he's like, am I looking at this I guess I'm trying to draw this point out of like a long-term play for my life. And I want to start to make my choices align in that direction. I had a friend tell me, he's like, dude, this is a great exercise to do. And I actually this would be so fun to do with some other guys, some other friends, but like take this 8-foot whiteboard, for instance, right in front of us.
Oh yes, the whiteboard.
Yes. If I erased this right now and I started maybe taping or writing, you know, like things in place. Do you think like an investigator, like Sherlock Holmes, like things pinned to the tip of the board and lines connected, everything, right?
So Sherlock Holmes just does it all in his head. But anyway.
Exactly. It's true. But like actually start to put it like, what are my big, and this is a theme Adam and I referenced. There's this, I'll bring it up again, but this idea of we have our objectives as the big things that were the fundamental investments, right? The big ideas. And then we have our strategies. And those are us kind of like, okay, well, how do we kind of achieve this? What strategic approach are we going to use? And I know this is kind of vague, but you get this idea of this kind of way of a system of thinking and working. And the base level, the little things, kind of the least important things, is how am I going to do it? Like, what are the tactics I'm going to use? Okay, that would be actually lifting weights and doing this. This strategy might be like, I'm going to do leg day on this day and arm day on this day, right? That sort of a thing. The tactics would be, I actually lift this weight for this amount of reps, you know what I mean? And and so there's actual doing of things. But like, I think we'll find in life, and this was a huge epiphany, a really big realization for me a few years ago, was I just like, that thing would be good to do. I see this guy, I don't know. I think fill in the blank, like go for a run, or like, the only thing I could think of was like, this guy wants to have a devotion to this kind of prayer book. Oh, I should do that. And it was just like, it wasn't, there was no strategy. There was no objective. Like I didn't really see how this fit into my plan. And so anyways, getting back to the whiteboard, like if we actually took, what are the things that actually matter most and the things where I want to go in life? And if we actually kind of, this could change, but you can take things in life and go, you could hold it in your hand and you could write out a Post-it note and go, does this fit into this objective? Does playing, if I want to be a musician full time, if this is like a dream I have, is to like produce albums and stuff. And I could be like, does, going and playing golf every single day and getting a professional to like mentor me does this fit into that plan? And it's like, well, that would be fun to do, but I probably don't need to go every day, and I probably don't need to put all that money into it. Like, that's not really going towards my fundamental investment direction. Like, maybe I'll go play with some buddies for fun as a recreation.
Once a month.
Yeah. So it's just like, that might seem obvious, but like, actually you could do this with a lot of things in life, in your life, and kind of realize, oh, is this really important, or does this really fit in? And anyways, getting back to that, what's the fundamental direction, right? How do these things contribute and align towards the way I'm moving? And I want to actually tie that back in. I wanted to explain all that so I could open the floor up for conversation about the people we're with. Who are we doing it with? Mm-hmm. And how can they help us?
Yeah. I would say that it's incredibly important to, it's cliche, but be around the people that are going where you want to go. That's who you have to surround yourself with. And it's so easy to say it, but to actually do it, there's like something there where you go, oh, but that means I have to like get outside of myself, and I have to go meet people, and I have to talk to people, and I have to learn who people are in order to get to know if this is a person I want to be around, or if they're going to influence my life in a better way. And sometimes you build friendships and relationships with people that you shouldn't be around, and to know, okay, well, I have a relationship with this person now. I want to spend less time with them. Not because they're a bad person. Maybe they are, but it's not necessary. But it's because they're not going where you want to go. And so you have to be willing to start to cut ties. And that doesn't mean cut them out of your life entirely and just never speak to them again. No, you might have just invested a couple of years getting to know somebody, because it sometimes takes that long.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things to help you find people that are going to be good quality human beings is find the people that are doing the things that you want to do. So if your goal is to become a really good golfer, you start going to the golf course, you start getting around people who golf, you start going to competitions, you start,
get into that community.
Right. You get involved with that type of thing. It's like John was saying about his buddy who went to Cali and got around, started sweeping floors at the plate. He put himself in the environment. Go put yourself in that environment. If you want to go work for a huge corporation and, whatever, work your way up the ranks, then you start as a janitor. Get hired at the bottom, start at the bottom, now we're here, I'm one above the bottom, but that's not the point. The point is you need to get yourself around the people. You need to get the atmosphere correctly or figured out, because it's not going to do it itself. You have to put in that effort and get into that.
Yeah.
I think we all have some experience with this. Me, John, and Peter, of sometimes we'll be in like a group of people that's specifically for sharing, specifically for
story time,
like talking about like our lives or whatnot. And like this was like mostly in church circles, and like a lot of it's good. But sometimes it can kind of just go meh. Because
like, do you have a certain experience that you're thinking of when you're saying this you could share?
Obviously, like I grew up and went to like a youth group in high school, and that was really good to learn how to actually like talk about my life to other people and actually share about what's going on, and be able to be like, okay, so, and I even be able to like realize certain things about my life so I can learn things in my own life. And be able to express that with people. I think that was really, really important. But now as a grown ass man, sometimes it's like, I'll go into a group of people and we're like sharing about stuff, and it's like, did you do the basic things of like, well, we're Christian, so did you pray today? What else how's the people in your life? How's your relationships?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it's I feel like it's almost more of like, are you doing bad or are you doing good, or are you doing like okay? It's not like, where are we going? It's more like, it seems almost like it's like a Alcoholic Anonymous like group, except for just like general life.
But yeah,
you know, it's
I want to add something I was thinking about of like, it's almost like those are some of the bare necessities. Like those are like the baseline of like, you know, for context, if I'm going to be a Christian, then one of the baselines is that I am taking time every day to pray and read the Bible and talk to God, right? Mm-hmm. That's like an idea. That's something that's a baseline.
Yeah.
Or it's like, you know, whatever, you know, you could think of a lot of things like you should probably eat every single day. You should probably eat food. You should probably get enough sleep.
You should probably eat good food for you.
Yeah. Things like that. And it's like, I think some of these groups that I, you know, I've been a part of some of these groups too. And it's like, there's some good things about it, but it's like, we're checking in on the baselines. Like, did you do the things you probably should have already been doing already?
Yeah. Now, when you're in high school and are like struggling and your life is like an absolute mess and you have hormones going off the walls and you have no idea what's happening and like you don't actually understand how the real world works because you're just trying to get by one more day. Yeah, it kind of makes sense because it's like, oh, like how do I, you know,
those are the things you're trying to learn at that stage in your development.
But so that's good. It's just that it doesn't like sometimes I feel like as adults it can like not necessarily like change a ton and we're just like hanging out, but we're not necessarily going somewhere. It's just like maintain the baseline so you're not, you know, falling off the face of the earth and like hitting rock bottom. We're just trying to like, it's like if you have an analogy of like a pond or a lake or an ocean that you're on.
Yeah.
And hitting rock bottom is obviously like the bottom.
With the rocks
and stuff. It's basically like sometimes it just seems like, hey, are you staying afloat on the water? Are you staying afloat? Oh, okay, you're staying afloat. Great. It's not
Adam, you floating today? Good. How about Peter? Your turn. Are you floating today? No. Well, you should probably do the things you need to do to float. All right, who's next? It's just like,
but what if I want to build a yacht? Like, you know?
Damn, bro.
Like, you know,
we're going there.
You know, like
so good.
What, like, I don't want to just be afloat. I want to be on my super yacht, you know, like that you can land helicopters on. Like
4+ helicopters.
Yeah. Like
land on my yacht.
I want the yacht that has the yacht that goes into the yacht, you know, like
and that also has the boat that goes inside of the initial yacht and a jet ski that goes inside of the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Good.
like
it's just like, you know, I saw this video on YouTube the other day and this guy traveled to all 7 continents. There's 7, right? 7. Yeah, I believe so. There's 7 continents and he traveled to all of them within 7 days or 8 days, whatever. And he flew first class every time. And it was like an experience he wanted to have and like an adventure type of adventure. But every single time he's like, what you got to do when you have first class is you got to have caviar. Apparently that's the thing. He's like, I don't eat it. Only when I fly first class do I eat caviar. But it's just like, I feel like if I got into some of the groups that I had been in previously and I was like, yeah, I'd love to fly first class to every country and eat caviar and get and he was drinking like $300 champagne, you know? Mm-hmm. And people would be like, but are you afloat? And I'm like, bro, like, let's talk about the yacht I want. Like, let's dream a little bit, man. We grew up in preschools where like the floor was a freaking puzzle, man.
But
are you
getting to bed on time?
Yeah, it's just like, that's good, man. But like, dude, like that's the stuff I talked about with my mom when I was a kid. Like, I'm a grown ass adult.
Do you have balance? Do you have balance in your life?
How's your work-life balance?
Oh my gosh.
Cringe.
I gotta go
cringe. Oh my gosh, Peter, you don't have balance. And I'm like, no, it might look out of balance to you, but I think my life is really balanced because I'm doing all the things that I really want to do.
Exactly. Like things that are going to get you to
right. They're going to get me to where when I'm at that point, I'll have the work-life balance because I won't have to do the work anymore because it's done. Because I've put it in. Mm-hmm. Now it's maintenance. Now the work that you'll see is just the maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, when you've built the body, when you've built yourself and your business, now you're doing the maintenance. Mm-hmm. And you get the work is just the minimal where you get to just maintain and you get to kind of develop it in that way.
Alex Hormozy, the initial phase of getting into like kind of the physique he has and bodybuilding was like an insane amount of like macros, carbs, protein. But now he's like, now I do maybe like 3 times a week, 4 times I go to the gym, but I still eat like this insane amount of protein to be able to maintain. He's like, I do what I need to do to be able to maintain what I have. And I'm like, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
But it's like the building is kind of over. And the same thing, he's like, really once you build the business to where it needs to be, you kind of actually shift into just like running the business. And you don't have to do all the insane amount of rocket fuel work to like get into space. You're cruising now and you just make the little like the little fire,
you're in space now. You just need like the fire extinguisher thrusters to like adjust you rather than the full throttle like going Mach 20 into the atmosphere. Like,
and so it's good.
Because the maintenance is those maintaining things are just what's keeping you on course, making sure that what you've built is staying true.
Right. But I mean, right now we're in our 20s and we're building.
Right.
So it's just like, are we having those building conversations with the men in our life that are supposed to be, quote unquote, our support?
Right.
And I don't want to even get hypothetical with this anymore. Like, I think this is like, if you have seen, if you've seen our album art for the podcast, you'll see DMC Presents. And you might have wondered what that is. And that's actually our Dangerous Men's Club that we built. Adam and Peter and I, Danny's been on the show. We have a couple other guys. We've gotten together and formed a group of men that we want to actually, the conversations don't want to just be like, are you floating? We want to talk about what are you building? Like, how can we build? Like, what are things I've been learning how to build and how can, I know it's kind of vague, but like, like
what color is your Bugatti?
You guys can chime in here and like talk a little bit about Dangerous Men's Club and what we're doing there.
Well, I look at it and it's like, okay, we get together for 3 hours at a time when we do this. And I feel like we're like just getting to the good stuff when we hit 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, I'm just always like, oh God, I need like a day retreat of this at least once a month. And like dive in, like get rid of the distractions and just dive in. Cause that's where we learn. We teach each other what we're learning.
Yeah.
We
get on the whiteboard, man.
Right. We get on the whiteboard. We don't have, other than if people have a laptop or a phone with them, there's not screens in here.
No.
Like there's not a TV.
In our clubhouse, yeah.
Our clubhouse is an 8 foot by 4 foot whiteboard where you can write, where you can build out ideas, where you can build out structures, platforms, and
dreams.
And be able to create systems together.
Yeah.
And that's, each of us are running our own businesses and we're all working together to build each other and to build relationships that are going to be everlasting. Because that ultimately is, that's what we're going for. We're all trying to build something together, but also we're each building separately. Yeah. But if we can take what I'm learning and what Adam's learning and be able to teach John and Danny and Jimmy and the other guys, we can now be like, hey, these are the things I'm learning. This is what I've learned through business. This is what I've learned in my life. And those guys get to go, oh gosh, that's perfect. I really needed to hear this right now. But then they can take what they're learning, what they're studying and teach me. And I can learn it quicker because I'm learning it directly from someone and their experiences and what they're going through at that time.
The word that we've come to really enjoy in this circle is the word mastermind. Kind of mastermind together. Be a bouncing board and,
It's so cool that we have like a group of guys and we get around a whiteboard and like write ideas and stuff rather than getting like around a TV and just like watching sports or like a movie or whatever. That's just like, we're just kind of consuming or like escaping like responsibility in a way. Like
mental masturbation.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
It's called what it is,
Yeah.
Damn. All right.
Dropping bombs, dude.
Like
it's good.
It is like sports are good. Like athleticism is good. Competition's good. But like when I have like run into people that like sports is like their whole thing, and it's like all they talk about, and it's
like
just
one of the bros that keeps track of all the stats and watches everything.
And like keeping track of some stuff is fine. Like understanding what's like some stuff that's happening can be interesting, but like
Yeah, we're not saying it's not
like
fun.
you
Like,
don't need to know like all of the different potential draft picks for the next season. Like it's, I think it's just a lot of energy that they're like trying to like, I'm trying to be like it's an energy of excellence that's like misguided. I feel like in a way where it's like, I'm trying to like remember everything about stats with like sports and stuff. And I'm like, again, like that is good because you have like that mindset of excellence and like understanding stuff and being able to like, oh, I want to be able to like predict like, oh, where's this guy going, or how is this, like, I think this team's going to be this team and that team and that kind of thing. But it's just spent on something that isn't actually going to improve your life or the lives of others.
Whenever I look at people who know all those stats, for me, I look at it and I kind of go, man, is there a way for you to monetize this information? Like
make money from it. Yeah.
This is like a reflection you go through.
Yeah. Cause I got a buddy who, he collects tractors, like old school tractors.
Yeah.
Some of them he rebuilds, but otherwise they just sit on his lawn. He's probably got like 40 of these things. And I just wonder, like, okay, how could you like monetize this?
John Deere retirement facility.
Well,
right
for him,
Yeah.
he just likes them. And so he collects them so they can just sit there. And I'm like, that's foreign to me. Collecting objects to just let them sit and not be used, not like repurposed, just they sit there out in the rain, in the snow, they just sit there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm someone who looks at that and goes, how could you monetize this?
Mm-hmm.
How could you, if you're going to build a collection,
how could you like actually build something with it other than just like, I have a bunch of crap or even if it's not crap, it's like really nice stuff, like really nice, like old tractors or whatnot that he's fixed up. Like
not all of them,
but like maybe some of them
aren't.
But like, you've built up these things, but then like, okay, so what happens when you die, all those things are just gonna kind of go back to not mattering. Like,
right.
And like, you didn't actually like build anything. Like, it's just like, oh, I just really like collecting teapots or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Okay, you have a teapot collection. Good for you. Now your grandchildren can be like, oh, well, grandma's a little different with the teapots, like, like.
Right. So we can have some unique personalities. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's like
fine,
okay, I get it. Having a teapot that looks like a snowman that can stack off of each other is kind of cool, but like you don't need 10 of them. Like, like it's just like these like little things that like are people like do where it's like, okay, it's kind of cool and I get how like you go after that, but it's still in a way like kind of childish because it's not helping anyone like actually make someone's life better. Like, yeah, you could collect trading cards from like a trading card game and, get the ones that are value well and then trade them for like a certain amount of money and like make money that way. But like, are you really like, yes, you could make money, but also some people just like want to have the cards. But it's like, if you have a card collection, like, is it just great? I can play some cards with, and some of them like, I know like Magic the Gathering is like a really popular trading card game. Some of the cards you can't even play with, but like are thousands of dollars. And it's like cool, but like, what are you doing with your life? How are you actually helping other people improve?
Yeah.
Cause I guess it's just us in kind of in DMC, in our group, in our Dangerous Men's Club.
Yeah.
We're so much about like, how do we become better? How do we become great? How do we like make other people's lives better? that it's becoming hard for us to comprehend. Like, how do you like just do that and like not be like feeling like you're wasting your time? Like,
Yeah.
It's like, what purpose does it serve?
yeah. Outside
I'm
yourself.
not gonna down on someone for having.
Let's put some perspective here and be able to take a stance as well on kind of what we're saying.
Right. Like, I don't want to down on someone for like having the collection of the things.
Mm-hmm.
Some collections, you know, some things like coin collections or whatever, some of those things have like a lot of value to them. And that's great. But I think the question that I have to ask is, okay, when I die, what is going to happen with it? Is it going to be a hindrance for someone else to have to deal with? You know, I don't want to have a bunch of shit that other people are now going to have to deal with. Be like, okay,
Right.
what do we do with this? Who gets this? What do we do with this shit here?
Yeah.
You know, if I got 40 odd tractors on my yard, my family's going to be like, fuck, now we got to deal with all these tractors.
Right.
Like, what? We don't want them. So
Yeah.
they're probably going to put them up for free, and you probably just paid a bunch of money for them all. So it's
Well, it's
like,
like-
that's kind of wasteful.
Ooh, that just gave me an idea of like, what
I'm not downing on him. Okay.
Yeah, it's
like, if he ever hears this, I'm not downing on you. I just don't understand. From my perspective, I cannot understand why you would collect things that aren't going to be valuable in another purpose. Like, what the purpose of
Again,
why I
that
would collect something,
fundamental direction that
right,
like,
is
the
to bring
objective.
value. And that doesn't mean, it doesn't just mean monetary. Maybe those tractors relieve stress for him in some way, shape, or form, but I'm sure the neighbors think it's hideous.
There is like maybe an air of like excellence in some of those things, because it's like, oh, like if you're really about like collecting this thing or fixing up like tractors or whatnot, he probably knows a lot about tractors.
Yeah.
And that has some excellence to it. So that's where there is like some value, but it's not necessarily like in the tractor collection that he has. It's in the knowledge that he has about tractors.
Yeah. Exactly.
So like he like, yes, maybe by collecting those tractors, he's gained a lot of knowledge, and that knowledge he can also put to work to help other people,
Yeah.
people's lives somehow. But
You know, could tractor collection be beneficial in my life? Could it, could I use it? Could I monetize it? Could I, help others with it? Sure. I think those could be questions we could ask. You know, I think one thing we don't really, it would be unfair to say that the guys in Dangerous Men's Club in DMC, that we don't have things that are unique to us, that are maybe quirks, maybe personality,
yeah,
It's like, I know Peter loves audio in a little bit different way than I do. I know you have several pairs of headphones that, for when you have a pair of headphones you just bought that are like boutique just for metal music, and you have like, you have different loudspeakers, you've put subwoofers in your cars, and it's like, okay, and I want to connect this kind of the tractor thing of like, okay, does it matter long term? Does it connect? And it's like, I don't want to disqualify anyone from having things that you care about that are cool, or they're very you. It's like, I love talking about my drums or my microphones or my music to my friends. I'm
Right.
honestly, like, I thought about this the other day, but I was like, dude, if there could be one dude that like still rocks the show and tell from when they were a kid, it would be me, because I'm always showing off my things, and it means so much to me that it's like, at the end of my life, it's not really gonna, like, I'm not gonna have those things, but I guess what I'm saying is that I don't want to super hard press, I guess, men to not have things that are cool, because honestly, some things that don't really matter, they help pick me up, they help interest me, they make me excited. But if we were drawing this
in
back,
other words, they matter.
Yeah, and they matter. They help me in a way in my private life, or in my own just enjoyment of life. They help kind of give me some fuel and some fun, some I don't know, like a pick me up, and that bleeds into my service of other people. That bleeds into my business. That bleeds into my attitude. Sometimes you just need to get away from work, and you need to go, and like, if you'd imagine a line, and you have above the line and below the line. It's like, I think if you think of a lot of the emotions or the positive experiences of our life, or you making an impact, growing as a person, as a man, and contributing to other people or to society above the line, But sometimes you get below the line and you have these negative experiences, or you're wrestling with different emotions, or you just like the way I like to think about this is I'm having a tough day right now and I'm just kind of out of it and I'm below the line. And one of the beautiful images that I've learned, this comes from Top 20 Teens, kind of a little bit of a program that some schools are doing back in the day. Where are the trampolines in life that I can hop on that will get me back above the line? Jump on the trampoline, boing, and all of a sudden I'm above the line and I'm back. And for me, even if I never made, if it never put out a music album, I just played drums in my basement. For me, that's a trampoline. Dude, I'll be having the hardest days and I'll come down and just like freaking hit something, dude, and have so much fun with it. And I'll be upstairs and I'll be in a great mood. Mm-hmm. And I think so what I'm saying is maybe sports and football could be that for somebody. Mm-hmm. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to completely throw away things that matter. But I just want to give perspective of like Adam's pretty much given up video games. You can listen to old episodes to learn more about his story with video games. But like some things literally, if you need to sit down and reflect, you need to draw pros and cons and be like, does this actually hold me back from the fundamental direction in life that I'm supposed to go? Does this hold me back from my purpose in life? Does this just make me find, does this enjoyment just keep me out of actually working hard or doing things that are meaningful? And I think it's more of like the purpose it serves. Like maybe this dude should just have one tractor he loves. Or maybe he should fix tractors, or he should go to conventions, like explore that. But like, okay, but maybe he's trying to find too much purpose here. That energy should, like you said the energy you mentioned, Adam, of like maybe some of this energy needs to go towards, it was meant to, as a man, mm-hmm. go towards service and growing and contributing to other people.
Misguided excellence.
Yeah.
So it's like you're becoming excellent in something, but it's not really like something that really makes an impact on it. And like, and I think some people just haven't really thought about like what kind of impact they're making, or like, because I think everyone wants to make some kind of impact, but they just don't know necessarily, like, haven't drawn the lines of like, this is the impact I want to make. How do I actually make that in my life? What are the things that I'm currently doing in my life, and what's the impact of the things that I'm currently doing? Because like, watching football is fun. Playing video games is fun. All this, like, a lot of this stuff is fun, but like, it's just when it becomes like the thing that you're trying to do and spend so much time on, while you're kind of neglecting becoming excellent in a way where you can like give life to other people, and by giving life to other people actually like experience more life in yourself. That's when it's kind of like you're just kind of, you're giving up, it's kind of like being on the beach. It's kind of like giving up your calling. Yeah, it's kind of like being on the beach and you're playing in a bowl of mud instead of like actually building like a sandcastle or like swimming in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like it's,
or digging the deepest hole. You said you're on the beach, so
yeah,
that's the goal of every time I go to the beach.
Yes.
Dig a deep hole. I don't know why.
You would dig a bathtub?
Yeah, I just dig a deep hole every time.
That cold plunge theme coming back to Pete.
Oh, yeah. Nah, man, it just, I don't know why. Just ever since I was a little kid, go on a beach, I gotta dig a hole.
You gotta see how deep the sand goes.
Yeah.
Right, where's the water table?
Yeah.
You have some closing thoughts, boys, for some of these things. Particularly maybe bringing it back a little bit to the people we're with. Right?
Yeah, I think that's
the brothers that we're choosing for this journey. Right.
What's so important about like, kind of like we're talking about, like, especially like when I talk about like excellence, misguided excellence, like that's why it's so important to be around a group of men that are like striving for excellence and like properly aimed excellence. Because like, if I'm like trying to be like, oh, I'm trying to get really good at this thing, and then I go and talk to a bunch of guys and be like, yeah, but what's the point of that thing? Like you have some good stuff going here. And I think that's one of the reasons why maybe some guys are afraid to talk about, because it's like, well, that knowledge and stuff that you have about sports is like excellent. So like in a way, like it's good. And also it's like the thing you like. So I don't want to like trash on the thing that you like.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily going to like talk about it. But like, really, it's like, actually, okay, that thing is like, you have some kind of like virtue and goodness in that but it's just maybe it's guided a little bit wrong. And I think that's something that needs to be kind of more talked about rather than just like, because like if you don't talk about those things of like, okay, you're excellent in this way, but it's kind of misguided, then you're just gonna be like, well, are you floating on the water? Are you well, yeah, you have all this stuff that's cool about sports and whatnot. Okay. So are you going to bed on time? Like, you know, like it's like, yeah, it's just, I just think a lot of time, I feel like from my experiences, like a lot of men won't talk about how to be greater than what is necessarily like expected of them. Because I feel like in a lot of circles that I have been in, the expectation for like, you know, just being a good Christian is like, hey, like, you know, pray every day, you know, make sure you're doing good at work and love the people around you and stop whacking off. Like,
Yeah.
it's like that's like what the theme is, and it's just like that's just like the staying afloat. It's not actually going after the super excellent thing.
Yeah.
I would have to toss in here, find people that are going to call you on.
Yeah.
Those are the people you want to be around. Yes, people who are going where you're trying to go to, but make sure that they're not just someone who's like going there, but going there negatively. Like find people who are like moving and grooving to like the beat of the drum that you want to be around.
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, this guy just like, he calls me on. Like this bro is just like, he's got it. There's something about him that you just go, I want that. I have some of those people in my life where they're the guy who I could call at 3 a.m. You know, I could call them, and you know, some of them might not pick up, but it's not that they wouldn't pick up because they didn't want to talk to me. It's because they'd be so asleep that, you know,
Phone turned off.
Phone turned off. Like I know some people like that, but if they were awake, they'd be the one to come help me bury the body, you know. Like I got guys who I'm that guy. You know, they can call me at 3 a.m. But I am the guy who will sleep through my alarms. So like sometimes don't call me at 3 a.m. If you knock on my door at 3 a.m, I'm going to wake up.
Yeah.
Well, I might not, but my German Shepherd jumping over me is what's going to definitely wake me up. So feel free to knock on my door at 3 a.m.
Came first,
You'll be
the chicken
greeted.
or the egg. I think he'll be awake.
You'll be greeted by the German Shepherd. But you know, just find the people. That's my thing is go find them. Find the people who are doing it. Find the people who are going to encourage you, going to call you on to greatness.
Ask the question of where those types of people would be. Where would they spend their time? Where would they hang out?
Think about
what
it.
Groups would they be a
Write
part
it
of that
out.
you need to join?
Write it out.
Like those are the types of questions that will move you towards that. You know?
Also, like we want to be personally excellent, so we can also be that type of person for others.
Yes.
I think that's what Dangerous Men's Club is all about, and to an extent is, you know, we continue to evolve and grow, and so that we can continue to be that brother and for each other, you know. You know, and it's like you talked about what you said, not accountability, but you said they're gonna, I don't know, they're gonna be firm for you.
Call you on.
They're gonna call you on.
Yeah,
That's
call
the
you
word.
on.
That's the word you use. Because I was thinking about that when you were talking to Adam earlier of, you know, gosh, it's just like, I don't know, like there's areas that we need to, you know, take a step towards growing. You know, there are things that, you know, I feel like to some extent we are still being nostalgic in our childhood in certain ways, right? That we need to let go and start to say, where am I being prompted and called to pick up more responsibility and to be more of a leader, right? Some of these masculine virtues, right? And what things do I need to leave behind? And are the people in your life right now, I mean, maybe take a little bit of an audit. Are they going to say, yeah, do whatever you want to do, man? do whatever you want to do. Or are they going to be like, the fuck you doing that for? Like, dude, like let's pick up the mantle here. You know what I mean? I mean, now I'm not saying we need guys that are negative in our life. I don't necessarily like hammer on Peter like that, you know, but it's like, I don't know. Are people just kind of down that you just do the things you do and you could just share whatever you want with them and they'd be like, oh, it's pretty cool? Or are they going to question? Are they going to kind of be trying to go deeper than that? You know, I think that's something that's really impactful about the group we have right now, you know? But yeah, I would think about that.
Yeah. I dig it.
For what it's worth.
I dig it.
And I will say, kind of to wrap on this end of things, of, you know, if you are struggling, if listeners back home struggling to find people in the meantime, or if you do have people, I remember I would listen to podcasts like a few years ago, and there were some certain individuals that were talking about, you know, like I think they were just talking about different things about the Bible. You know, this is relevant to my life, right? They're talking about the Bible. And maybe you don't listen to podcasts about the Bible. That's totally cool. But I just remember I felt like I was in the room with them. I felt like they inspired me. And when I just had more optimism that day. And maybe not even optimism. I just felt more alive, more pumped. And some of the things I learned, or like, it wasn't even really about necessarily the things I learned. I guess what I'm trying to nuance is like, they made jokes. They were getting excited about things that they cared about. And I was like, felt like I was getting to know these people, and that I had a relationship with them. Or a couple of these fellows on this podcast I actually did know in real life, but living far away was a way I could continue to feel like I was being around them and getting the energy and the direction that they were communicating, right? And so I think in a lot of ways we really desire to be able to pass that forward. And so this podcast can be a place that you can get in the room and you can be involved in the conversation, so to speak. You can hear the types of things that we're talking about, and maybe we still have some ways to go in some of these things. Maybe we can purge some things and grow, right? We can continue to get better, right? And we try to be open on the show, talking about, you know, the ways Peter wants to be cleaner or whatever. I'm not going to point out everything about everybody, but you know, you get the idea. And so feel free to, you know, join the community, join the movement. Let's like work towards becoming a more dangerous man in that sense. And yeah.
Let's freaking go.
Anything you want to conclude here, Adam?
Nope. Stay dangerous, guys.
Share the show if you want to help other men embrace danger and become truly great. You've been listening to The Dangerous Man. Join us next time. Until then,
claim your greatness
and stay dangerous.